This episode of the e-commerce playbook is brought to you by Postscript. What do Ruggable, True Classic, Dr. Squatch, and Brooklinen all have in common? They send their subscribers best-in-class texts using Postscript, the best SMS marketing solution for Shopify stores. With revenue-generating AI features like infinity testing, brands are able to generate and test thousands of on-brand message variants that evolve over time, driving an average 20% revenue lift, all proven by holdout testing. This isn't just AI that saves you time, although it definitely does that, but it's AI that actually generates revenue. See for yourself at postscript.io. Hey folks, welcome to the e-commerce playbook podcast. I'm your host, Richard Gaffin, director of digital product strategy here at Common Thread Collective. And I'm joined today by a new guest, Adrianne Austin, who is, of course, Luke Austin's sister. But that's not only who you are. I just say that because Luke is a frequent guest.
No, that's only who I am.
Adrianne has been here a much longer time than Luke has. You've been here for, you said 8 years? Is that true?
Yeah, it'll be 8 years. This is my 8th year. So the close of the eighth year will be in August. 8 years at CTC. Quite the journey.
Yeah, I was going to say, because that's scary to me because that means I have also been here. I'm in my 8th year as well, which is
Yeah. I mean, you were like majorly responsible for me getting hired, Richard. So around the same start date.
That's true. Yeah, it's like mere months before, but cool. So, I mean, we're excited to chat to you. And what we're talking about today is, although your title here is your senior growth strategist, so you're a team lead, you're managing forecasting and kind of building out plans and managing spend and whatever for clients. On top of that, you're also heading up our content creator program, which is essentially a way that we source UGC for our clients. And so what we wanted to talk a little bit about today is maybe some of the specifics of that, partially like why is it different from other, hiring maybe an influencer agency to source your UGC or whatever. But let's start off like what was the kind of impetus behind this? Like why did you get into, with all the other things on your plate, why did you get into content creation as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So in my roles through growth strategy, it became so clear to me that brands of all sizes, whether you're the massive, Travis Matthew, all the way down to some startup doing 2 million a year, brands of any size struggle with the same thing when it comes to asset sourcing for this asset type specifically, UGC, creator content, CGC, whatever trend you want to call it, right? They struggle to source it. And it's because the paid media team, whoever's chasing ads for paid channels, and their organic team, whoever's chasing videos or images for their organic channels, aren't connected. They're not on the same page about what performs and why, what hooks or angles they're leaning into, how to create assets against their hero products, how to look at the product priorities in terms of the inventory they want to be pushing, and then source assets accordingly. There's just a major disconnect, and brands of all sizes really struggle to source native to feed video ads in volume. It became clear to me because that was always the biggest gap in terms of the asset libraries that I was receiving from the clients that I'm working with, right? But what many brands, they realized, like, hey, this shot on iPhone style real video could unlock performance in my Meta account, but for whatever reason, they have a really hard time sourcing it. And when they do source it, it's usually super subpar, right? It's UGC, it's testimonials. They're hit or miss. You don't really know what you're testing or why you're testing it. You're like, okay, we got this video from a customer, or we got this video from this UGC platform or this UGC partner. Throw it in the ad account, see if it works. You don't know what you're trying to learn. Like, any kind of there was little strategy behind it. And so what I wanted to create is really this product through CTC that allows us to source creator content for you, because we're the ones putting spend behind your assets. So it allows us to not only source the right videos against the right products, because we know your product priorities, we know your product margins, we know your contribution margin targets. We're able to source the content against those products appropriately, and then we're able to report on performance immediately after, because we're the ones spending your dollars.
Yeah. So let's talk. Go back to your point around most people having difficulty sourcing UGC, but then also once the UGC is sourced, it's of poor quality. So talk to me about, why is most UGC bad? Why doesn't it work? Why is it poor quality?
Yeah, often, I mean, the number one reason why it's poor quality is because it's not briefed correctly, is what I'm realizing, right? And so it's just generally like, hey, we'll send you this product. Can you make us a video? Creators are good at making videos, they're not good at making ads. So, unless you're briefing them appropriately with really clear hooks and angles that you want them leaning into, you're going to just get a video that, it might be a great video because they're good creators or they're good at making content. But you, as the one behind the brand and the product and the ad account, need to be the one briefing them on the hooks and angles to lean into so that you have really clear learnings coming out of it.
Mhm. And that also creates a scenario where you don't have to, like, 'cause I feel like most influencers, because you have to source them at volume, maybe aren't familiar with your product at all when you find them, or
Right.
just like don't really have a sense. They don't use it, so they don't really have a sense of like why someone would, and so they end up just sort of making something up for themselves. But of course, you have to, as the person who understands the product, have to guide that a little bit more. So
Yeah.
talk a little bit about, you mentioned the briefing process being kind of this
Mhm.
unlock. Talk to me a
Mhm.
little bit more about what that looks like for us.
Yeah, absolutely. So the typical structure that will the typical structure that we'll brief in is really similar to our concept structure for produced ads. So if you're familiar with CTC Creative at all, we operate in an offer angle audience structure. And so this is how all of our ads are built out using our clients' still images or produced videos, right? So just non-UGC style ads, we lean into either a offer, an angle, or an audience. And so with UGC, with creator content, we're actually briefing in the same exact manner so that we can find out quickly what works, which offer, which angle, which audience. So here's a really, really specific example of how we source content and write briefs against the same structure of offer, angle, audience. So we work with a lot of brands in the fitness space. This is both for apparel and gear and stuff like that, right? So with a recent client, we these videos are always SKU specific, right? You pick a SKU that you either want to drive a lot of volume behind. It's a new launch. Maybe you have excess inventory on it. So you need to push it strategically to get more cash in hand. Whatever the reason is, these are always SKU specific, driving straight to PDPs because that's what we see work best. So for this specific SKU, we're leaning into unlocking audiences and finding what really resonates on Meta with a specific audience hook. So if you know anything about the hybrid athlete space right now, it is just a massive kind of trend term on the social platforms that we spend in, right? So we lean into three specific hooks with this one product and one creator. And the hooks are if you're a hybrid athlete, dot, dot, dot. Hook number two,
Mhm.
if you enjoy HIIT workout classes, dot, dot, dot. And then number three, if you're training for a marathon, dot, dot, dot. Three very specific areas of the fitness industry right now that are just massive. And then allows us to take these three different videos. They have the same sort of base real style footage that the creator used, but three very specific hooks talking to three specific types of people. Are you training for a marathon? Do you love HIIT workout classes? Are you a hybrid athlete? If any of those will resonate, Meta will be able to spend into those through caps at our efficiency target. And it allows us then, if one of those lands, say the hybrid athlete angle lands, it allows us to then take that angle and develop a bunch more creator content style ads that lead with that hybrid athlete hook. Um, something that, man, I hate quoting Taylor on here, but something that Taylor's always said for years now, and it's always stuck with me, is this idea that if you are talking to everybody, then you are talking to nobody. And whenever I think about these briefs, that's what I think about. Um, so instead of saying, pet parents everywhere need this product, it's,
Mhm.
do you enjoy hiking with your dog off leash? Question mark. Versus, are you worried about your dog not getting enough exercise? Question mark. Or do you love tracking your own health and wellness stats? You'll enjoy this product. Now that's another example of a large project we're leaning into right now, testing into a bunch of different types of um, different audiences and hooks for one single product to find out what Meta is able to unlock some scale at.
Okay. So you're into SMS marketing, but it's still the little brother to big email in your marketing plan. If that's the case, stop right there. This is the year SMS will become your number one revenue channel when you make the switch to PostScript. And to help you get started, they've got a free 2025 SMS marketing calendar for you. So now your entire SMS strategy for the year is planned. Grab it at postscript.io/calendar. Yeah. Okay. So it sounds like the core, like if you were to boil down sort of the briefing process, it's about using that initial second of the video to identify an audience, basically, to like, or call out an audience and say,
Yeah.
if you are X, then Y. So for the rest of, so for the, maybe this for the first batch of creatives or whatever, is it just you get the hook and the hook is identifies the audience, and then the rest of the video is just kind of whatever they want, or is there more that goes into kind of developing the whole piece?
Typically, we'll let the creator run with their unique story from that point on. I love what I get back with a little bit of a looser brief post those first 3 to 5 seconds. Sometimes there's necessary feedback afterwards, but I don't like breaking it down to like each granular word for the entire 30 seconds because these creators actually have really unique stories and they love the product for specific reasons. And I love just letting them kind of run with that. And after that hook that we're beginning with, right? I give them really specific guidelines. Most of them know these guidelines, but giving them guidelines like keep every frame to 2 seconds or less so that you keep the user's attention. If you have frames that are longer than 2 to 3 seconds within a reel, you'll lose people quickly, right? So keeping frames to 2 seconds or less, making sure that key content is in your kind of your middle two-thirds of the video, because these ads are all delivered in 9:16, and then we crop them to 4:5 in Ads Manager. So they serve to all placements. So giving them like, guidelines like that, plus the hooks I want them to lean into, and then the rest they kind of run with. And each creator that we source will deliver 3 ads, so that it's one full concept delivered to the media buyer here at CTC. And then they report on learnings after we get to the spend through those.
So at the top of this, we talked about there being two core issues. One is obviously the quality of the creative once it's made. But then the first thing you
Mhm,
talked about was the sourcing. So talk to
mhm.
us about what's the sort of secret sauce? What's your like what's your connection? Like how do you source the influencers for these brands?
Yeah, absolutely. So I cannot take credit for this process because actually, brand that I work with, this is how they reached out to me a while ago. It is it is literally DMs.
Hmm.
This is the nitty gritty of sliding into people's DMs with a brief, with an attractive enough offer, whether it's cash per video or a valuable enough product that they'll be getting for free, or some combination of both. Sliding into DMs and developing a relationship with these people. It takes time. It's kind of obviously very granular, but that's how you get these people that are actually really willing to hype up your product and deliver a genuine story against it, and not just someone that's just like, making quick change on a UGC platform that's going to deliver a super dry testimonial video back. So that's the process. The brand that reached out to me that sort of spurred the process in my mind a couple of years ago delivered some really clear specifics from the get go about what they were looking for from me. I think that always helps with this type of outreach because then they know what they're committing to, and whether they're up for it or not. And the cool thing about the CTC content creator program is we, outside of the product that you're shipping, you're not paying any extra creator fees on top of the package fee that you're paying us. So you're paying the package fee and that's it. There's no added cost that we're asking you to pay directly to the creators. That's coming from the package cost that you pay us. And so we're able to kind of work within those constraints, but you're either shipping the product directly to the creator or we're giving them a code that we source through you for them to place their order.
Gotcha. And so I was going to say, some people may have inferred just now, you yourself have also been a content creator, maybe still are. So talk to us about how your experience as a content creator yourself kind of informs some of the ways that you maybe approach our content creator packages.
Mm. Yeah. I mean, I think my experience there's what I've realized is if I'm not interested in a product, I can't make good videos for it.
Hmm.
Like I cannot fake it. And so I scope myself into some of these packages, but if the product doesn't work for me or it doesn't make sense for me, it's not worth stretching the truth.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so I've learned that really quickly and I source in the same manner where if the customer or the creator is it genuinely obsessed with the product or the sort of category of products and already uses something like it or uses that product in their day-to-day life, you're not going to get a very genuine or authentic story. And people scrolling on their phones can read through a lot of BS these days. So definitely my experience with that has played into this. I think is it. my experience as a you know, creator has less to do with the effectiveness of this this product than my experience as a growth strategist, honestly.
Mm,
And like, yes, I can make good videos and sell products in your ad account, but my experience as a growth strategist allows me to work with your team at CTC to identify the products that we're going to choose to lean into and why, and the hooks that we're going to lean into and why, and then deliver um, a second round of videos based on those learnings in a really effective way because I understand paid media. So my experience actually as a growth strategist has way more to do with why this works than my experience as a creator. But I can make some good videos.
Yeah, no, I was just curious if it gives you some insight maybe into how to actually brief it out to the creator or actually get good creative out of them. Because so my next question was going to be,
Yeah.
and this is a place where your experience as a growth strategy clearly makes the most impact, which is to say, like
Mm,
getting that second round of videos.
mhm,
What's that process look like once maybe you've got a winner, you're trying to
mhm.
optimize it, you're trying to get something along those lines. What's the next step then?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, okay, cool. So, package one delivered, tested. We got results back. We found what works. Some creators hit, some didn't. Some angles hit, some didn't. We're going to take the ones that hit, the creators and the angles, and we're going to run deeper into those audiences, right? So, typically with package number two, or a lot of our clients are on reoccurring packages. So, quarterly rounds of these where I'm delivering, say 18 ads per month, and that really allows me to like keep running with the learnings here. So specifically, if we find a creator that works and an angle that works, I'm going to use them again, number one.
Hmm.
And then number two, I'm going to source more folks like them and just get deeper into those early learnings. So yes, this hybrid athlete angle just absolutely crushing for this specific brand. Let's find more folks that would identify as hybrid athletes, those that are maybe training for high marks races or anything in that category, and then really lean in there and source more content through people like that with similar angles.
Yeah. Um, okay, so let's talk maybe then about some specifics of the package itself. And as a sidebar, you really have to get into price, but just giving people some sense of like what do timelines look like? How does this fit in a relationship with a different influencer agency or whatever?
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. Uh, so clients at CTC are so like easily able to opt into this package. All it takes is you working with your growth strategist and identifying like this is an asset type that we need to test into 2025 to really understand what our asset mix should be this year, right? So if you're running a high amount of still images or a high amount of, highly produced video ads and low amount of UGC, you probably have it. You probably don't have a clear understanding of what this asset type could do for you. So we sort of once the need is identified with your growth strategist, we're able to add this to your scope at CTC, whether it's on a monthly basis just for a one-time package, whether you want a reoccurring set of videos for say a quarter, 3 months in a row. Um, we'll start with obviously the volume amount. And we lean in two different ways. So unique reels are different than reel variations. Okay. So a unique reel is 850 a pop. This is all like a la carte basically.
Mm-hmm.
So 850 a pop for one unique reel. And that's one creator and one's it's one unique video, 30 seconds or less, 9:16 aspect ratio, voiceover and captions, the whole 9 yards. A variation of that video is what I just described. Okay. So those variations run at 425 each. So most packages we sell lean into one unique reel, two variations. So it's 425 times two because you're getting two variations of that one video for 850. So that's one concept, one creator, one reel, two variations for a set of three ads. It is really challenging to get learnings from, I will say, less than three concepts. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I'm totally open to selling, three ads at a time, and we'll do it. If you want a really low risk way of testing this asset type, say you have really low spend or low resources, we can start with a batch of three ads, like I just described. However, more often than not, I will recommend no less than 9 ads. So that's three unique reels, three creators, two variations of each for a set of 9 ads. It's three concepts, right? And that'll give you a good foundational set of assets to actually learn something from this. You don't want to invest in the asset type and learn nothing just because you only bought 3 ads. So, and then packages as large as I just delivered one last month that was, I think, 28, right? So 28 across, it was like over 9 creators or something like that, right? So it's totally a la carte. It's month to month, or you can add it to your scope as an ongoing kind of addition to your base package with something studied, your growth strategy. And then the process is so simple. So it's a simple kickoff with you and your brand team. We'll identify with your growth strategist the products we want to focus on. I'll send you the addresses for the creators that I pick. We'll ship the product out. And from there, it's hands off from your team. So I'm able to source all those videos. We send them back to your team for approval. And when they're approved, we add them to the concept log and your media buyer builds them out. And then as soon as they get some spend, we're able to report on learnings via myself or your creative strategist if you work with a creative strategist at CT. So it's all built into the growth map process, which is the way that our media buyers here are building out new ads already. So it's not this like additional piece of like, I work with so many brands that are like, oh, well, we get creative from here and we get creative from here. And it's like 5 different vendors. They're getting 5 different types of creators creative from. And it's just such a hodgepodge of deliveries. And this allows it to just be ingrained into the process that you're already working with within CTC.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think so. If you want to check this out, and you want to work with Adrianne on building a content creator package, on turning on the UGC creator machine, you can go ahead, head over to commonthreadco.com, go to our Work With Us tab and select creative production, and we can get the conversation going about potentially joining us. But one thing that I like to leave everybody with on these podcasts is, if obviously the solution for this is to work with us, of course. But in the event that you can't, or it's not in the cards for you for the next little while or whatever, what's the number one thing that you can do right now to maybe streamline your content creation process or make this
Mhm.
whole sort of process just a little more painless?
Ooh, that's such a good question. Um, Start building a connection between your brand or organic team and your paid team. There are so many ways to source this content um, i- internally and build a little bit more efficient communication between your paid media team and your organic team. So even if that's just digging up some old reels that had high engagement on your Instagram channel and running those as ads, even if it's just looking at your posting calendar for Instagram with your brand team for the next month and asking them, hey, is there any way you could create some ISO videos here in the studio or here at our office with our product? Um, and so we can test out those asset types in our ad account. I find that so many, organic social folks that work in house are able to make great ISOM videos. It's just they've never been at, or no one's thinking of that as a resource, right? So that connection could solve a lot of inefficiencies and a lot of gaps in your asset library as just a really quick, easy step without having to pay us for anything.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Well, thank you for joining us, Adrianne. Appreciate you getting on. We'll have to get your numbers up so that you can beat Luke in terms of total podcast appearances.
Oh yeah,
I
yeah,
think we
for sure. Yeah,
I think we
my
can
my
work on
life's my life story, finding ways to beat my little brother at things in life.
that. No, there you go. Hey, well, for what it's worth, I think of Luke as your brother rather than of you as Luke's sister. Does that make sense?
That means a lot, Richard. Yeah,
Yeah,
that means a
it's
lot.
true.
Thank you.
Awesome. Cool. All right. Thanks for joining us, folks. Appreciate you hanging out with us for a bit, and we will talk next week. Bye.